Welcome to the Agent of Wealth podcast with Marc Bautis from Bautis Financial. In this podcast, Marc helps guide you towards financial freedom, ensure you never run out of money, and create a balance in life that prioritizes what is most important to you. Join us for this journey as Marc draws from years of expertise and guest experts to solve the multiple wealth building challenges involved in your financial life.
Welcome back to the Agent of Wealth. This is your host, Marc Bautis. On today's show, I'm going to discuss a topic that holds importance to many of us, and that's protecting our beloved parents from the threat of senior citizen scams. In a world where technology continues to advance and scammers become more sophisticated, it's crucial for us as adult children to understand what scams are out there and how we can keep our parents safe from them. As sons and daughters, it's our hope that our parents' golden years are filled with joy, security, and trust. Yet, the sad reality is that scammers often target our seniors, exploiting their vulnerability. In this episode, we'll go over some of the tools you can use in the line of defense against scams, from phishing emails and fraudulent phone calls to identity theft and financial exploitation. We'll also discuss how open communication strategies that bridge the generational gap can enable you to have these important conversations with your parents about staying safe on and offline. To begin, let's shed some light on the evolving landscape of the senior citizen scams. So the FBI estimates that senior citizens lose more than $3 billion each year to financial scams, and that's just what's reported. The number is actually probably a lot higher. According to the California Mobility Senior Citizen Scam Statistics, an individual senior loses on average of $500 or more when scammed. And I've seen some scams and read about some scams out there where the number's a lot more than $500. Seniors are often targeted due to their trusting nature, so scammers exploit this through various means, from convincing phone calls to sophisticated online phishing attempts. Here are some of the most common ways that senior citizens are targeted. So first, there's phone call scams. These are sometimes called impersonation scams, but scammers will pose as government officials, a utility company representative, or even a family member in distress. So they often claim that there's an urgent issue that requires immediate payment or personal information. So as an example, this is how a utility scam works. So a person will pretend to call you from your utility company and say that you have an outstanding balance due. They'll have accurate records on your current, previous addresses. They may say that they're collecting an outstanding balance on a home that you lived in, like say 5 or 10 years ago, and that they're making the call as a courtesy before they send your bill to collections. Even if you pressure them, they'll give you an employee ID or even a phone number you can call back if you don't believe them. So we should be trained that never give any sensitive information out to someone who calls you. One tip is you can hang up on this potential scammer, look up the phone number of where they say they're calling you from, and call them back. Now, scammers are trying to get ahead of this by, when they're on the phone with you, they'll give you their phone number and say, sure, hang up and call this number back and you can call me. But of course, it's a fake number that goes back to the scammer. Another tip is don't pick up the phone if you don't recognize the phone number. You can also register your phone number with the National Do Not Call Registry. So it's not perfect, but it can help. You can also check with your phone carrier. Some of the phone carriers have spam call blocking. They may offer either free and or paid features that may help. There are also third-party paid spam blocking apps out there. 2 of them are RoboKiller and Truecaller. All right, next we have phishing. Now, phishing emails appear to be, it's an email you get, it appears to be from a legitimate source, such as a bank or a well-known organization. I've seen them from Facebook, from Netflix, from Amazon. The emails typically ask for sensitive information like account numbers, passwords, or credit card balances. They may say that your account is blocked or we weren't able to process your payment, with the hopes that you click on the link that's there. It'll bring you to a place where it looks exactly like the site that it's saying it is, but of course it's a fake site. You enter in your credit card info and now they have it and can use it maliciously. One of the things you can do here is show your parents how they can hover over a link and see the true website address that it's pointing to. Let them know if they're not sure of that link or not sure of the email, don't click on it. And phishing is getting even more popular through texting. If you get a text from someone you don't know with a link, just don't click on it. It's probably not relevant, potentially fraudulent. So the best way to do it is don't click on it. Next are tech support scams. Cyber criminals will contact the senior claiming to be a technical support representative from a reputable company. It could be like a Microsoft or an Apple. And what they do is they'll inform the victim of these fictitious computer issues and offer to fix them remotely for a fee. And then what you have to do is you have to basically give them access to your computer, and from there they either will have the ability to get personal or financial information, or what they'll do is they'll put a virus on there and say, basically hold you hostage and say the only way that you're getting, you will give you access back to your computer is if you pay a ransom. According to California Mobility Senior Citizen Scam Statistics, older adults who experience scams reported tech support scams more than any other type of fraud. They're 5 times more likely to lose money in these tech support scams than younger consumers are. So this is definitely one that hits seniors hard. There's also lottery and sweepstakes scams. Here, a senior's told they won a lottery or sweepstakes, but to claim the prize, they need to pay either like taxes, fees, or some other expenses up front. And obviously there's no actual prize, and the scammers just pocket the money. There's also romance scams. So scammers will create a fake online profile and build a romantic relationship with a senior, often through like an online dating website. And then after gaining the senior's trust, the scammers ask for money for various reasons. It could be a medical expense, a travel cost. It seems legit. It seems like, they've built the trust up, and it's very they're very successful with these as well. Romance scams cause the largest losses for seniors. Again, another statistics by the California Mobility Senior Citizen Scam Statistics claim that it reaches an average of $10,000 to scam for those who are aged between 70 and 79. There's also investment scams. They could be targeted with fraudulent investment opportunities promising high returns. Scammers pressure them into making, a hasty decision without proper research, which could potentially result in financial loss, but also that the whole investment was a fraud. There's also Medicare and health insurance fraud. So the way these work, seniors are contacted by a scammer pretending to be a Medicare representative, and they'll ask for personal information, which can include social security numbers, birth dates, financial information, and it's under the guise of updating records or offering new benefits. There's also charity and donation scams. So here, scammers exploit seniors' generosity by posing as a charitable organization, disaster relief fund. They request donations for these fake causes and basically just divert the money to themselves and pocket the money. Or if you want to hear more about charity and donation scams, there's a really good series on HBO now called Telemarketers. And the series is about 2 office workers at a telemarketing call center in New Jersey back in the early 2000s. And they're under the impression that they're raising money for firefighters and police charities, when in fact, it's a fraction of the money they raise actually goes to the charity. Most of it goes towards their employers. So when the company that they're working for is shut down, these 2 office workers, they try to expose the telemarketing industry. But, it's kind of crazy how big these scams are, and one that, you think that, oh, this is legitimate, I'm donating, I'm doing a good deed, donating to a firefighter or police or disaster, when in fact the money never actually makes it there. The last one is identity theft. Again, this is one that affects both seniors and non-seniors, but this is where a senior's personal information is stolen, used to commit financial fraud or credit accounts, or make unauthorized purchases. For all these, there's the financial damage, there's the actual time and recovery it takes to, get back from the scam, but then there's also the emotional toll that someone goes through. So now we'll cover some practical steps for protection against these. And, for most of the part, it involves education. So here are some tips you can share with your parents to prevent them from falling victim to these. First is obviously be skeptical of any unsolicited communication. Have like that skepticism. Don't trust emails, phone calls, messages from unknown sources. Be cautious. Even if the message seems urgent or official, before taking any action, verify the sender's identity. Discuss it with a trusted friend or family member or caregiver or yourself. Sometimes that outside perspective can help them recognize potential scams. Let them know if they're unsure of whether an email, a text, or phone call they got's legit. They can always ask you about it. Avoid rushed decisions. So scammers, they're notorious for pressuring victims to make quick decisions. The one I was talking about, the impersonation one, where they may have a grandchild that's in duress or needs immediate attention, and that just causes them not to think clearly and send money without verifying, the identity of the person or whether it really is an issue. But they're always pressuring people to make quick decisions. So take your time, think things through, verify the legitimacy before you do anything. And then, of course, be wary of requests for money, personal information, especially when they're trying to evoke fear, sympathy, or urgency. Create strong, unique passwords for any online account, and I stress the word unique. Some people use the same password for all of their accounts. Kind of the basics include a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols. Avoid using easily guessable information like birth dates, names. We have actually an entire blog post about how to create really super secure passwords we'll link to in the show notes. Only use secure Wi-Fi networks. So you're seeing that these public Wi-Fi networks are becoming more and more popular. If you're using Wi-Fi at home, make sure that your Wi-Fi is secure with a strong password. But when you're out of the home on an unsecured network, first try to limit from going on an unsecured network. But if you do go on an unsecured network, definitely don't log into any of your accounts. I would even, be wary. If your email has sensitive stuff, you want to be careful of that as well. On the phone side of things, use caller ID and call blocking. Nothing is perfect, but it can help avoid some unwanted calls from telemarketers and scammers. Never share personal information like social security numbers, bank account details, passwords. Be careful on social media. So obviously don't share personal information on there as well. You want to regularly review your financial statements. So check your bank, your credit card statements regularly for any unauthorized, suspicious transactions. Report the discrepancies to the financial institution. You have to remember, scammers are skilled at creating convincing scenarios. The days of getting that Nigerian prince email, they're over with. The scams have become increasingly sophisticated. If something doesn't feel right or seems too good to be true, it's important to take a step back and investigate it further. By staying cautious and informed, you can greatly reduce the risk of falling victim to these scams. Next, we'll talk about how to really have this open communication, these open conversations with your parents. Communication is the key, but when it comes to having an open conversation about online safety, you have to be sensitive and patient. So here's how I recommend approaching the topic. So first, choose the right time and place. Select a comfortable, relaxed setting where both you and your parents can have a focused conversation without distractions. You want to express concern and care. Start the conversation off by expressing your genuine concern for their well-being. It's the whole reason you're doing it. Let them know you want to have the discussion because you care about their safety in the digital world, and come prepared with news articles about online scams, their consequences. This can help make the threat more tangible and relatable. And unfortunately, with a quick Google search, you'll find lots of harrowing stories of scams. So there's an endless amount of stories that you can utilize. Emphasize their expertise. So acknowledge their life experience, their wisdom. Express that you value their insights. And this can help build their confidence and create a space where they feel comfortable sharing any concerns they have or questions they have. Share your own learning. Discuss your experience with online safety and scams. If you've ever been a victim of one or someone tried to scam you, or things that you see. Everyone's getting hit with phishing emails all the time. Share any mistakes you made, what you learned from them. This can encourage them to open up about their own concerns. Explain some of the common scams, the ones that we went over. Provide a simple overview of these online scams, emphasizing that scammers use different tactics to trick even the most cautious people. And then offer practical tips for identifying the scams, such as recognizing a suspicious email address, verifying the authenticity of websites, and being cautious about sharing personal information, and not rushing to take action on something if they're getting pressured. Address their concerns, give them space to voice their concerns, questions, any fears they might have about using technology, and then introduce some resources. Share trustworthy resources such as websites, videos, articles, or podcasts that provide more information about online safety and scams. And what this does, it allows them to learn at their own pace. And then offer support. Let them know that you're always there. You'll help provide guidance and help if they encounter any suspicious activity. Make them feel comfortable to reach out to you without hesitation. You want to build trust and ensure that your parents feel comfortable discussing these topics. It's pivotal. So as we wrap up, remember that protect our parents from senior citizen scams. It's more than an added responsibility. It's an act of love. So that wraps up today's episode. I'll leave all the resources we discussed in the show notes, as well as some additional resources we have on this topic. Thank you everyone who tuned in, and stay safe out there. Don't forget to follow the Agent of Wealth on the platform you listen from and leave us a review of the show. We're currently accepting new clients, and if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one consultation with our advisors, please do so at bautisfinancial.com/call.
Thank you for listening to the Agent of Wealth podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered represents the views and opinions of the guests and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Bautis Financial. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional financial planning and investment advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investments and financial planning.